You will not believe what I found in a pocket change roll. This small copper disc that everyone treats like pocket change once nearly broke the record books. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1983 Lincoln penny, the surprising errors that turned ordinary cents into collector gold, and how to spot the rare survivors that could be hiding in your change. Stay with me because I will show you what to look for, how to test a coin, and what real collectors are paying at auction right now. Why 1983 matters, the quiet revolution at the mint. The Lincoln cent has been with America for more than a century, but the early 1980s were a turning point. In 1982, the United States Mint changed the composition of the penny from a mostly bronze alloy to a thinner copper-plated zinc planchet in order to cut costs. That change created a transition that still matters today. By 1983, most pennies were the new zinc type. Most 1983 pennies you'll find in circulation are the common copper-plated zinc cents that weigh about 2.5 grams. Those coins are everyday pocket change and are worth 1 cent in everyday commerce. The vast majority of 1983 cents are ordinary, common, and plentiful, and they are not collectible for high value in normal circulated condition. But here's the twist that excites collectors. A very small number of 1983 pennies were mistakenly struck on leftover bronze planchets from the earlier composition. Those off-metal transitional strikes are rare and collectible because they were not supposed to exist in 1983. They're struck on a heavier bronze alloy and typically weigh around 3.1 grams instead of the normal 2.5 grams. When a modern coin that is supposed to be zinc shows up in bronze red-brown color and the heavier weight, collectors pay attention. Act 2. The varieties that can make you stop and stare. There are a few different 1983 varieties and errors that collectors hunt for. I will list the ones that matter and explain how to spot each. Doubled die varieties. One dramatic variety for 1983 is the doubled die reverse and doubled die obverse examples. These show strong, visible doubling in the letters and numerals when viewed closely. The doubling can be dramatic enough that words like e pluribus unum or 1 cent look doubled to the naked eye if the doubling is strong. Doubled die examples vary in value, but the most dramatic and crisp examples can sell for hundreds or even thousands depending on grade. Look for obvious letter doubling, not just weak machine lines. Off-metal transitional bronze cents. This is the headline maker. A true 1983 penny struck on a bronze planchet is a transitional off-metal error. It looks like an old copper penny rather than a pale copper-plated zinc coin, and it will weigh about 3.1 grams. These are rare and were confirmed in multiple finds over the years. High-grade examples have sold at auction for significant sums. A top-quality graded specimen sold at Great Collections in 2024 for nearly $30,000 including buyer's fees. That sale made headlines and put these transitional 1983 bronze cents on the radar of roll hunters everywhere. That same auction example was graded MS65RD and was described as the finest known by PCGS at the time. Die cracks, cuds, and large die breaks. 1983 produced other error types that collectors like: prominent die cracks, large cuds that obliterate parts of the legend or the 1 cent field, and striking defects that create unusual raised flaws. These errors are collectible because they are distinct and limited in number. Some named FS varieties, error catalog numbers for the Lincoln cent series, describe these major die break and cud types. When the reverse or obverse has a large missing chunk of metal from the die, that coin can attract collector interest. Act 3. How to find one and what tools to use. I know what you're thinking. How do I find one of these in my pocket change? Here are the practical steps collectors actually use. Weigh the coin. Get an accurate digital scale that measures to at least 2 decimal places in grams. The normal 1983 zinc cent should weigh about 2.50 grams. A bronze transitional cent will typically weigh near 3.10 grams. That simple weight check quickly separates the 99.9% ordinary zinc cents from the handful of heavier bronze survivors. Always tare the scale and weigh a known good coin first to be sure the scale reads consistently. Visual inspection under magnification. Use a loupe or a macro camera lens. Look for the color and the surface. Bronze planchet coins have a warmer brown-red color and patina that differ from the bright or tan color of copper-plated zinc. Look for evidence of doubling in the lettering or unusual raised lines from die cracks. If a coin looks red-brown and weighs heavy, you may have something special. A zinc penny typically has a clean-cut plated edge with a gray inner core showing at a rotated view. A bronze planchet will be uniformly colored through the edge. That means if you can see consistent metal color at the rim, that's another visual clue. Be careful, corrosion and cleaning can fool you, so rely on weight plus color together. Have it authenticated. If you think you have a bronze transitional cent or an attractive doubled die, do not sell to the first buyer who messages you in the comments. Get the coin authenticated by a reputable third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC, or by a trusted local coin dealer who will send it for certification if needed. Proper grading and certification greatly increase buyer confidence at auction and in private sales. Auction houses and graded sales set real price benchmarks. Real-world prices and what the market looks like. Let's talk money, because that's why you clicked. Most 1983 pennies are 1 cent in circulation. Uncirculated, common 1983 cents might sell to a collector for a few cents to a few dollars depending on grade, but the rare varieties I mentioned are where real money appears. Doubled die varieties can trade for hundreds to a few $1,000s for strong high-grade examples. Expect variation by strength of doubling and by grade. Major auction houses and variety catalogs list price guides based on condition. Transitional bronze planchet sales have set the biggest headlines. In July 2024, Great Collections sold a finest known PCGS MS65RD 1983 bronze transitional cent for approximately $26,000 plus buyer's premium, which totaled nearly $29,000. Other examples found and sold in past years have brought prices ranging from a few thousand in lower grades to the tens of thousands for exceptional pieces. The hobby has recorded circulated examples trading for a few $1,000s and carefully graded mint state specimens bringing higher auction results. These sales are real and documented, and they are the reason roll hunters are weighing pennies like pros. Important reality check about sensational claims. You may have seen viral posts or comments claiming that a 1983 penny is worth $5 million or similar eye-popping numbers. Those claims are not supported by auction records or reputable numismatic reporting. The documented auction results for 1983 transitional bronze pennies and for strong doubled die varieties are in the thousands or at most tens of thousands of dollars range, not millions. If you see a six-figure or million-dollar price attached to a 1983 penny, ask for the auction record, the lot number, the grader's certification, and an authoritative source. Sensational internet claims without verifiable sales records are common and often false. The highest known extreme dollar sales in American numismatics are other extremely rare, historically unique coins, not ordinary 1983 Lincoln cents. Always check the provenance and the certificate. How grading affects price and why condition is king. Like every collectible coin, condition is everything. A bronze transitional penny in low grade will still be more scarce and more valuable than the common zinc issue, but the real money is in high grade. Professional grading adds credibility and unlocks the auction market where serious collectors bid. The same error in an MS65 holder will sell for much more than a heavily circulated example with the same error. Grading fees and the possibility of remnant cleaning damage matter, so never alter a coin for sale. Avoiding scams and buyer pitfalls. If someone offers you a huge sum for your penny without a certification or a return policy, be cautious. Frauds and over-enthusiastic buyers exist on social media. Document the coin, get it graded, and if you sell, use a reputable auction house or a well-known dealer. If you are offered an instant buyout that seems unbelievably generous, ask for proof of funds and references and consider a second opinion. The safest path is to get a professional opinion first. A storyteller's pause. The romance of the transitional cent. Take a second to imagine a coin that slipped through time. These transitional bronze cents were planchets left behind from an earlier era, struck accidentally when the mint's machines still had a tiny slug of old metal tucked in a hopper. That tiny mistake is what gives these coins their romance and their value. For many collectors, the thrill is not just the money, but the story of survival, a surviving piece of metal that should not exist in its year. Welcome to the Hidden Riches Coin Channel, where coins become stories and stories become fortunes. I am your host, and today we are following the life of one tiny coin from the minting press to multi-million-dollar auctions. We will go slow, break down every detail, and by the end, you will know exactly why the Lincoln Penny 1982 1 cent has become legendary in the collecting world. Act 1. The story and design of the 1982 Lincoln 1 cent. The Lincoln cent has been the United States 1 cent coin since 1909. It was introduced to honor Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth and designed to bring a human face to the smallest unit of American currency. Over the decades, the cent has seen subtle design changes, but the essence remains: Lincoln on the obverse and several reverse designs over the years. The year 1982 was a turning point for the cent. Rising metal costs forced the United States Mint to make a major change to the composition of the coin. Before 1982, the cent was predominantly copper. In 1982, the mint transitioned to a copper-plated zinc composition. Because of that transition, coins from 1982 appear in two general types: those struck in the older copper composition and those struck in the newer copper-plated zinc. This transition created many varieties that collectors study carefully. The coin we're discussing today features the iconic Lincoln profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which had been used since 1959. But the value story is about the unexpected and rare striking variations, mint errors, and surviving specimens that show unusual characteristics. Act 2. What makes certain 1982 Lincoln pennies worth so much? Most 1982 cents are common and worth face value or a little more in circulated condition. The astronomical valuations we hear about arise from a few extremely rare and specific conditions and errors. First rarity source is composition. A genuine 1982 penny struck on the older bronze composition or showing a very early or transitional alloy mix in a way that is verifiable can be extremely rare. Second rarity source is minting errors. Doubled dies, misstrikes, off-center strikes, die clashing with remarkable patterns, clipped planchets, and lamination errors can create unique specimens. Third rarity source is provenance. A documented specimen with a traceable chain of custody and verification from world-class grading services combined with extreme rarity can drive prices into the millions. Why would a specimen fetch $5.1 million? A valuation of $5.1 million for a 1982 Lincoln penny relies on a combination of the following factors. Absolute rarity. The coin must be essentially unique in the world, or one of only a very few known specimens. Striking error or composition anomaly. The coin must exhibit an anomaly that is clearly outside normal production and that cannot be easily replicated. Gem quality. The coin must be in exceptional physical condition with strong details and minimal wear. Professional authentication. The coin must be certified and graded by leading third-party services such as PCGS or NGC, and the grade must support the claim of extraordinary condition and authenticity. Documented provenance. An auction record, prior sales, or ownership by a reputable collection that is publicly documented dramatically increases value. Market demand. Collectors and museums willing to bid aggressively at major auctions drive prices skyward, especially if the story behind the coin is compelling. When a single specimen checks every box, the result can be a seven-figure sale. That is how coins across denominations have hit headline-making figures. Act 3. The long history and life cycle of a high-value coin. Minting origins. The United States Mint in 1982 was balancing production volumes and material costs. Some dies might have been run longer than intended or subjected to unusual planchets. In transition years, manufacturing controls are often tested and anomalies appear. Many of the coins that later become famous started as ordinary circulation strikes. Discovery. Most high-value coins are discovered decades later. They surface in change, coin rolls, estate sales, or are pulled from large bank bags by savvy collectors. The discovery is often accidental. One day, a coin dealer or collector notices odd toning, weight, or detail. A magnifying glass exposes unusual features. The curiosity becomes a hypothesis, and a coin enters the authentication pathway. Authentication and grading. This is a critical step. Every claimant who proffers a multi-million-dollar coin must submit it to multiple grading services for verification. Grading companies assign a grade that reflects the coin's condition and attach a label that describes anomalies and provenance. An already rare anomaly that receives a top grade becomes a collectible currency for auction houses and private buyers. Auction and sale. Top specimens will be consigned to major auction houses that specialize in numismatics. There, the coin is promoted, featured, and shown to high-net-worth collectors under strict viewing conditions. Bidders might include private collectors, museums, investors, and dealers. The price escalates as bidders compete, and with the right combination of rarity story and condition, a coin can sell for extraordinary sums, like the 5.1 million number you mentioned. Act 4. How to spot a possibly valuable 1982 Lincoln penny. Weight. Because 1982 cents exist in two compositions, the weight can be a quick clue. A pre-transition bronze cent has a noticeably heavier feel than a copper-plated zinc cent. However, weight alone is not proof. Many modern scales are needed, and weight differences can be subtle. Edge and core. Examine the coin edge to see if the zinc core is exposed or if there are lamination layers visible. A true bronze cent will not show a bright zinc core. Color and surface. Bronze cents typically have a warmer, richer tone. Error specimens might show unusual toning patterns or areas where plating is missing or disturbed, but beware of artificial toning. Always prefer objective evidence. Strike details. Use magnification. Look for double die features, misaligned strikes, off-center imagery, or other die anomalies. A double die on Lincoln's hair or the date can be extremely valuable. Planchet defects and clips. A clipped planchet or a coin struck on an incorrect blank can be rare. Look for missing segments, irregular shapes, and interrupted designs. Weight and dimension testing. Weigh the coin and measure its diameter. Record the result. Compare to standard specs for 1982. Any major deviation is noteworthy. Provenance clues. If a coin has an old collection box, a receipt, or a handwritten note, the provenance could add weight to its story. Steps to take if you think you have a valuable 1982 cent. Do not clean the coin. Cleaning drastically reduces value. Leave the coin as is. Even gentle cleaning can remove original surfaces and destroy provenance evidence. Document everything. Take high-resolution photos from multiple angles under neutral light. Note where you found the coin, any previous owners, and any paperwork or packaging that came with it. Get a preliminary expert opinion. Contact a reputable coin dealer or a numismatic expert for an informal look. Avoid certainty and avoid anyone who immediately offers a suspiciously high buy price. Submit to third-party grading. If the consensus is that the coin might be rare, submit it to at least one top grading service. Do not submit to just anyone. Use well-regarded services with experience in major rarities. Consider auction houses. If authenticated and graded, major auction houses that handle numismatic rarities will advise on consignment terms and promotion. They can connect the coin with international collectors who have the means to pay top dollar. Valuation nuance and reality check. $1 million coins do exist. They are rare headline makers. However, most coins remain modest in value. Here are important realities. Not every error is valuable. Some common errors exist in large quantities and collectors pay only a premium over face value. Provenance and documentation matter. Anonymous coins rarely reach premium levels without impeccable technical evidence. Grading and verification are expensive and time-consuming, but they are essential for realizing top market values. Collectors and investors value stories. A great narrative about the coin's discovery, journey, and verification adds emotional value that converts into higher bids. Market conditions influence price. Even the rarest coin's realized price depends on demand at the time of sale. Suggested on-screen visuals and pacing. Open with a close-up of the coin rotating slowly. Cut to archival footage of the mint with era-appropriate imagery from the early 1980s. Show macro shots of the date, Lincoln's profile, and the reverse detail. Insert animated overlay that explains composition change from copper to zinc. Show side-by-side images of normal 1982 cents and the rare example to emphasize differences. Include interviews or quotes from experts and auction house specialists when available. Show auction hammer scenes and gavel drops to build tension when discussing high prices. Sample narration lines for dramatic moments. This tiny disc of metal sat in pockets across America for decades. Most people saw a penny. Collectors